I hadn't had a chance to connect with people like that and really just be open and vulnerable and listen, as well as really be heard in quite a while. So it was both a heartwarming and a heartbreaking experience, because you don't realize how much you have in common with other folks until you have a chance to be open that way. I'm gonna cry a lot, so.
My experience with the workshop holistically was completely impactful. All the different parts of my self were engaged. During the activities, I forgot about the prickliness of the things that I wasn't particularly comfortable with, and began to get into a type of flow. But while I'm fingering along with playing the notes, because I know a little bit, but I haven't played in years, really played. And the thing that it'll make me get emotional again. What he was able to do in his music was break a dam inside of me, and I began to remember riffs and things that I used to do. And that was so special for me, because I haven't played in a long time. And those fingerings I thought were gone, but he brought it back. See, I knew I was gonna need these. So yeah, that was powerful for me.
On what you experienced, you're going to work together.
This was a unique approach that really got us away from just the academic talking about it or the checklist. It really got us through the emotional connection and how music can really guide that, and not just that it's a background thing to listen to. I think this program can impact in multiple ways. I think it can impact those of us who work in schools or with children in other settings, and helping them to just relax and enjoy what they're doing, and helping them to feel that there are many ways to grow and learn. And as adults working, where there's a lot of pressures and a lot, whether it's in a school setting or in some other kind of setting, there's a lot of pressure that we're often so goal-oriented that we have to get this done, or you have to learn this task, or I need to get these things done. To stop and reflect for a minute of like, let's just be here for the moment. Let's just get to know each other, or let's just relax, or let's just experience what we're doing. It really helped me remember that.
So when I think of flow, I usually think of like computer science, like programming. So when someone's in the flow of programming, they're kind of like locked in, where they're just like coding, and they're thinking of new problems and they're solving it as it comes via code. And when I was in that experience with everyone, I kind of forgot what it meant to like be in flow, almost like hearing that jazz music and seeing the things around me. Initially, again, like I said, I was like very uncomfortable at first, but then I allowed myself to just like be calm and be in this place where I'm accepting everything that's going to happen. And it really allowed me to kind of open up and understand everyone else has a different flow than I do. So in computer science, when I look at other CS students, everyone has kind of like a similar flow. It's like, we're all just gonna code, and it's just kind of like, what's coming to you, you're gonna write it down. For me, after the dancing, I kind of went back to coding, thinking about all the little things about when I code, right? Like the clicking of my keyboard, what's showing up on the screen, the little squiggly underlines of like when you're typing something and it's incorrect, you know, it says, oh, this is wrong, or oh, this is right, etc. So I was thinking about all those little things that I've never really thought before, and that was kind of beautiful.
So most of you know Bruce, others know me. Some of you know both.
There's not a lot of opportunities to connect with yourself, to have that uninterrupted and dedicated time to check in with yourself, to feel your own feelings, and also to connect with other people in that vulnerable way. I think a lot of interactions are, kind of that superficial, hey, how are you? Good. And smile. And a chance to kind of open up and connect with folks in a structured way that isn't, too open-ended. You don't get lost. You have something to focus in on, something specific to react an emotion within you and compare that to other folks around you. It was very eye-opening for me to realize how little time I had spent interacting with any form of art or anything unstructured outside of my day-to-day, and to talk about the pain and difficulties that you feel, or to talk about the deep emotions that arts in general of any type open up in you.
Take a second and feel what
There were several emotions that came up during the program. I thought I had dealt with them and, in a sense, suppressed them. But the music, for whatever reason, brought them back up. It wasn't necessarily uncomfortable, but it just made it aware to me they still needed to be dealt with. It's helped release some weight that I have been carrying. Helped me realize I needed more moments of stillness and allowing myself to be present in the moment. I think this program is universal. I don't think there is a box for it. I think it's open to all age groups, all ethnicities, everybody. I can see it in the schools with all age groups definitely benefiting from it, also as well as the senior facilities. Just thinking of when I would go visit my grandma in the facility and the different activities that they were doing with the seniors, this would have been a great addition to fit in. They were already painting or coloring a little bit, but to add that music piece, because music is just universal.
The process in and of itself was very well done. There was a wonderful, diverse group of people. And coming in, there was a bit of discomfort, which I think is normal as human beings would feel. But I would also say immediately after meeting a few people, I just felt very authentically safe, and I felt as if I were in a good place. Surrender to the moment at hand. You're safe. Surrender to the people that are around you. They're nice people. There's no issue. There's nothing going on behind me that I can't see. I'm a childhood trauma victim, so I tend to sit in the corners with my back to the wall, facing the doors and all points of egress and ingress, points of entry, who's coming, who's going. So that's a little bit of my personal perspective. I'm not sure if anyone else has that. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But for me, I think the people, the diversity, the group of people that were there allowed me to feel comfortable, and I was humbled and grateful for that.
During the workshop, there are a lot of moments that stood out, but when we sat down at the table to create the art, I really had to fight planning, because I like to plan ahead and know exactly what direction I'm moving towards, especially with a group of people. Asked myself again while I was sitting there, what do I want to get out of this? And I was like, I want to challenge myself to do something different. I then realized that I wasn't there to do anything in particular, but be there for myself and show up. So I was like, wow, this was really for me. I really needed this.
A lot of how I set things up, I didn't want people to be thinking. I told them at the very beginning, anything that we did, there was no right or wrong way to do it. but I wanted them immersed in it. And I don't think we get that opportunity very often. I think a lot of times with workshops or with classes or trainings, we're expected to be in thinking mode all day long and taking notes, getting ready for a test, those pieces, and that the rest of our experience as a human being is kind of negated from that, where no, you're not allowed to bring your emotions to work. Or what do you mean, like, let's pay attention to how your shoulders feel right now, get back to work. But to highlight those pieces, I think are where the real integration of that social emotional learning really goes to, because then they say, oh, if I'm feeling this and I consider myself, a pretty high functioning adult. So I felt like that was the most important piece of leaving open-ended places for people to have their experience and see where the whole day could grow from that.
So what's exploration? It's this dynamic 5-step approach that fosters greater self-awareness, adaptability, and emotional capacity building in individuals. So the 5 steps are a mindfulness practice, which is followed by an improvisational jazz experience, then a collaborative arts project where they move around the table building on one another's work. And all of this is followed by an informal exhibition where they lay down keywords about the art and they're processing through what it is that they felt as they were working through these projects together. And then finally, a group discussion. And so what we found is exploration's impact comes from this innovative fusion of these steps together. So when they're combined, they work to help Cindy to become more aware of your body and where you might be holding stress, which prepares you for these unique artistic experiences that help unlock emotions. The major takeaways of the case study were increased vulnerability and empathy leading to self-discovery. This idea that you had to really work through the discomfort in real time. And people had authentic connectedness, and that as a whole, exploration was this really dynamic team building experience. So you got to keep in mind, during these case studies, these individuals came from all walks of life and career paths, and they didn't know one another. But what we found were they were having these really profound moments of breakthrough and healing, and this recurring theme kept coming up. This idea of feeling childlike, of feeling free, and of feeling more human. And this really struck me, this idea of feeling human. So I asked a dear friend who's a social worker and an expert in corporate wellness, and she said that because we get so caught up in the nonstop grind of our lives that we lose touch with ourselves, that we are often working on autopilot, and that in itself is dehumanizing. Because we're disconnected with ourselves and our families and our work. But see, that's the beauty of exploration, because the program creates greater emotional capacity within individuals, and that is freedom. What does it look like on the flip side? Well, in the corporate spaces, what we found out was, or rather the workplaces, that these impacts look like enhanced productivity, greater focus, enhanced personal communication, and burnout prevention, which is really profound and makes our work so timely, because we forget sometimes that as a nation, we're still recovering from the COVID-19 pandemic. And even though mental wellness is moving more into the forefront, humanity is still very much under attack. So what are we doing? We're adapting exploration to all kinds of spaces: frontline workers, first responders, people in innovation and tech, active duty military, education, corporate spaces, anywhere there are high stress environments. This is where exploration should live, because it's a powerful tool. I mean, it really is.
Exploration is about the authentic connections created between individuals when we allow our vulnerability and empathy to lead us to discover and rediscover that our shared humanity binds us together. Exploration is also about space. a space in which mindfulness, jazz music, and art come together in a unique fusion of disciplines to foster curiosity, creativity, and innovation, where individuals learn through discomfort and take from the experience whatever they need to become a better co-creator, collaborator, leader, team member, community builder, and servant leader.